Welcome to episode number 1 of Tips from Tom, where we will cover a wide range of topics, from real estate to local happenings to even highlighting other markets around the country where I have contacts by interviewing agents and figuring out what's working in those areas in case you want to buy a home or sell a home in a different market. Hopefully this becomes the resource where that search starts. So with that, we're going to cover today in episode 1, we're going to cover the 3 main pain points that I see sellers struggle with on a regular basis. Point number 1 is going to be our timing of the market. How do you time that market? How do you take advantage of the market? How do you make sure to get the most money out of the buyers in the market that you are currently in? Topic number 2 is going to be the pricing strategy that you and your agent put together, and how are they going to market it? We're going to talk a little bit about maybe you should be asking more questions to your agent as to what they're going to do to make sure to help get your home sold for the most money possible. And topic number 3, the major pain point that I think goes underrated with a lot of sellers, is the emotional baggage that comes with buying a home. Whether you want to admit it or not, selling your home that you've put your time, money, effort, blood, sweat, and equity into, it's going to take a toll emotionally. It's going to be stressful. And I don't think that sellers are truly prepared for that emotional baggage that comes with truly selling their home. So if you find these tips useful, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you get updated when new episodes that can give you some more tips from Tom will hit the internet. So let's take a minute and let's dive straight into topic number 1, timing the market. We know where the market is. We know what it's telling us right now in today's market. We don't know where it's going to go. Right? So I have that conversation with my sellers a lot, and it's not an easy conversation to have. If you're thinking about selling this year, well, then the time to start mapping that plan out and putting those pieces in place and getting your home ready to go on the market is right now, because we know where it is. We know what your home's worth right now. We don't know what it's going to be worth in 6 months, in 8 months, right? So we want to make sure to get that roadmap in place so that you can extract the most money and take advantage of the market when things happen. Now, there are certain pieces that we can predict, sure. We absolutely can always talk about how the spring market is typically better than the winter market. We do all go through a somewhat summer slowdown, and we all certainly hit a holiday slowdown. So we have trends in the past that we can bank on and we can take a look at and say, hey, listen, this is going to make for a better time to list your home. We may want to beat the influx of inventory that we plan to see. We usually see an influx in inventory in that spring market, March, April. So maybe you want to get ahead of it because maybe you don't want as much competition with your home if there are certain things that we need to control. So making sure that we take a look at all of the data that is available to us and make a decision is something that we should start planning out now, so that we're not up against it and rushing that process when the time hits. And having that conversation, the earlier you start that conversation with your agent, the better off and more success you will have in selling your home, because you'll be able to wrap your head around it. You won't be rushing to get a handyman in to do the small repairs that you've been neglecting. You won't be rushing to make sure that you get the place on market in a market that you may not necessarily be ready to go. Where are you going to go after you sell your home? You may not know that. So making sure that you plan this out as soon as that thought process hits of it's time for us to move on, it's time for us to sell, make sure you get that plan in place, is going to make an already inherently stressful process far less stressful than it necessarily would be if you just jumped in and rushed around and made sure to get things done. So we can't predict what types of things are going to happen in the market that are going to affect your home's value. Take 2023, for example. We all knew interest rates were going to go up. Let's face it, they had to. They can't possibly stay at the 3.5, and 4% interest rates. We all knew it. What nobody knew was how quickly they were going to rise and how those drastic jumps in interest rate were going to stall the real estate market. It affected home values. So making sure that you get a plan in place, there are certain things that we can all plan around, but then there are other pieces of this where we have no idea what's going to happen. This year in 2024, we certainly hope that interest rates come down. All the forecasting is saying that the interest rates are going to come down. And with that, what we're going to see is an influx of buyers come off of the sideline, because now they're actually ready. Now they can afford. They couldn't afford the 6. They couldn't afford the 8, but they can afford the 6. So we're going to see millions of buyers come off of the sideline and be looking to buy your home now. So getting that plan in place and prepping your home to sell for that spring market, to take advantage of that spring market, that process needs to start sooner rather than later. If you look at 2023, what we saw in 2023 was the lowest number of transactions that we've seen in 30 years. So what that's caused is pent up demand for the home buying process that now, as interest rates come down, coupled with the lack of inventory, we're going to see an influx, and there's going to be a market that's going to be primed for taking advantage of as a seller. But again, I can't urge you enough, that process has to start now. You need to be having those conversations with your agent and making sure that you're putting that roadmap together, because I can assure you there are things that you should be doing to your house to make sure that it is prepped to actually sell. So no matter what market you're in, what I want you to do is take a look, and if you're thinking about selling, I want you to take a look and ask yourself, one, do I have an agent in this area? Whether it be New Jersey, whether it be California, whether it be Texas, wherever it is that you are watching this video or listening to this podcast, ask yourself, do I have an agent? If you don't have an agent, I'm happy to put you in touch with somebody. I have plenty of agents throughout the country. I'm happy to put you in touch with somebody that can make sure that you are getting that plan in place, that you can trust and at least interview to start that process, right? Number two is I want you to ask yourself, what's the ideal timeline? If you wave a magic wand over this thing, what does it look like in terms of your timing of when you sell, how much you sell for, where do you go after you sell? These are questions you need to be asking yourself. Then I want you to take a look at your house, look around and say, what are these projects that we've been neglecting, whether it be painting, whether it be fixing the soffit that's busted outside of your house, whether it be talking to your condo association about figuring out what's going to go on with the common hallways, about figuring out how do we get these hallways up to par and make sure that they look nice, so that when buyers walk through our building, they get a good feeling before they even come into your home. I want you to think about all the things that have been neglected, and I want you to start to figure out, how do we start those conversations? How do we start to correct those things so we can get ready for the market in which we're going to actually sell our home, and make sure we take advantage and get as much money as possible and take full advantage of the pent-up demand that is certainly going to be out there in 2024. And by the way, if you have any questions at all about different real estate processes or what goes on in your market, please feel free to drop a comment, message me, ask me the question, and I'm happy to answer it. I'm happy to schedule time that works for you to make sure that we can get those questions answered for you. It doesn't really matter what market you're in, that's the truth. I'm happy to help you out and guide you any way that you can. So drop a comment if you have any questions at all. Let's take a look at topic number 2. So topic number 2 is going to be pricing strategy and marketing. Let's be serious here. If you're watching this video on YouTube or listening to this in a podcast, the technology is out there, and the days of your agent being able to just put it on the MLS, on any MLS, and make sure that they have it on Zillow and Truly and everything else, those days are gone. There needs to be a deeper marketing plan than just putting it on the MLS and making sure that you get it on Zillow and everything else. You need to be asking your agent deeper questions as to making sure, what is their true strategy? Have they figured out what the target demographic is for your buying area? What is the demographics that's moving into your area? Where are they coming from? Do they have experience in working with those buyers from those areas so they can make sure that they talk up your house and understand how those buyers are working and what they're looking for in your area? What is their social media strategy? What's their thought on video components? Are they taking professional photos? And I know that sounds simple. I get it. Like professional photos, right? You think that everybody's taking professional photos. I promise you, more people than you think are not actually getting professional photos. They're going in with their iPhone and they're taking the pictures of your home where you have put tons of effort. You want to get as much money as possible. They're taking iPhone photos and they're posting them on the MLS. And I promise you, that is hurting your value and hurting the first impression. You get one shot at a first impression. You get one shot at a first impression, and if you blow it in the photos, those photos are the first thing that they see, you are losing out on buyers who are not even going to come see your home because the photos came out so bad. I promise you, it is happening. So the days of just throwing things up on the internet, those are over. Because of the technology that is out there, buyers have so much available to them at their fingertips. They are so educated on the process nowadays that you need to make sure that your agent has an actual plan. What is their marketing plan? Who's the demographic? Are they working with other agents in other areas? Where is your home being marketed to? What type of reach does their agency truly have? What are the feeding markets that are coming to your area? So is a feeding market California? If it's in California, do they have any contacts in California that can go market your property in California for you, even though your place is in New Jersey? If you live in a second home place, let's just use, Utah, for example, and it's a big ski community in Utah. Well, what are the feeder markets that are coming into Utah and buying second homes? Do they have contacts in those areas that are making sure that your property is marketed to their buyers in other states who are looking for second homes? These are deeper questions that you should be getting answers to, that you deserve to have answers to. And the problem is, the truth is, you may not necessarily know that you should be asking those questions. That's why videos like this and doing your homework before you actually hire somebody is important. So that's all the marketing side. Let's talk a little bit about pricing strategy now. It's a tough conversation to have a pricing strategy talk with sellers, because the truth is, we get it. This is your home. You think it's worth a ton of money, but a good agent is not going to tell you what they think it's worth. They're going to tell you what the market is saying it is worth. There's a significant difference between what I think that your home is worth, what you think that your home is worth, and what the market is saying that your home is actually worth. Those three things need to meet someplace and make sure that all of the pricing strategy, everybody's on the same page moving forward, and we land on a price that's going to drive traffic through your home, get you the most money possible, and on top of that, hopefully control some terms. If we can drum up more offers, right? Everybody wants bidding wars, everything else. And the way that you do that is pricing your home correctly, is where the market is saying it's worth. You will always get your home will always get what the market says that it's worth. But if you overprice, it is a fine line between pricing accordingly and overpricing. And if you overprice, I promise you, your home will sit and you'll chase the market backwards. And by chasing the market backwards, I promise you, you are leaving money on the table. So you are better off pricing even a touch below the market than you are trying to set the number or set the record number for your area. Let the market, let the demand drive your price forward, as opposed to being the one who pushes that number, sits, and now you cost yourself money because buyers are going to just wait for the price reduction, think it's a fire sale, and then they're going to come in and lowball you. It happens all the time. So having that pricing strategy and being open to hearing why your agent thinks that it should be priced the way it is, make sure that they have the actual hard evidence as to why the market is saying that your home is worth X, Y, Z. Because if they're just coming up with these numbers out of thin air because they think that your home should be worth, or even worse, they're telling you that it's worth this much because they want the listing, and then they'll bother you for a price reduction in a couple weeks, that does nobody any good. You're going to be miserable, you're going to be on your agent, and all your agent's going to be doing the entire time is just pocketing those buyer leads who are calling them and saying this home is priced too much, but what else do you have? So make sure, take the headache out of that, make sure that you're pricing your home according to the market and the pricing strategy that you and your agent are on the same page with. Let's dive into topic number 3, which is going to be emotional baggage. My biggest and most underrated point that I think sellers tend to struggle with, that I've seen time and time again, is struggling with the emotional baggage that comes with selling a home. I've seen businessmen, businesswomen who are big shots at their companies, who make huge decisions day in and day out for their companies, struggle with the emotional baggage that comes with selling their home. No matter how much you think it's just a home, I don't care, I want as much money as possible, and all I care about is the money, I promise you, when it gets down to negotiating for the little things, negotiating the inspection credits, negotiating the price, negotiating closing timelines, all of these things add up, and you're going to get emotional and realize that you have a bigger connection to that home than you think. That's why you hire a good agent. That's why you hire somebody. Our job as agents is to make sure that we are, the quote adult in the room, and make sure that we remove that emotional baggage and we keep it about the business, keep it about the goal. Because a good agent is going to sit at your kitchen table, they're going to have the conversation with you, we're going to set goals and timelines together, making sure that we're all on the same page. And my job is going to be able to reel you back in when you start to get a little wacky and start to get a little crazy, and say, hey, listen, stick to the plan here. Stick to the goals. We talked about this. We said that this was going to happen. We mapped out this strategy. Let's stick to it. Our job is to make sure that we take everything that's going on crazy around you and we tighten you in, bring you in, and make sure you stay focused on the task at hand, which is selling your home, getting as much money as you possibly can, and moving you on with the next step of your life. And what happens is not enough sellers understand or are prepared for what actually comes, and that baggage that actually comes with selling their home. And to me, that is probably the most underrated pain point that I've seen sellers deal with time and time again, whether it be, an investment property that this was their first investment property, or be a home that that they lived in for a few years and they say, I just want as much money as possible. But reality is, you look around your home and you say, we've made good memories here. Right? Maybe your kids were born there. Maybe you got engaged there. Maybe this was the place that you got married. Maybe this was the first home that you and your wife or husband bought together. Right? There are emotional ties to the home that you're selling, whether you want to admit it or not. And the only people who don't have emotional ties are large corporations who are going to sell their properties. But the truth is, if you've ever lived in that home, there's going to be some form of emotion tied to it. My job is to make sure that I guide you through that, navigate you through that emotional baggage, and get you out on the other side of it with as much money as possible in your pocket. So this brings us to our closing here, which is an official tip from Tom. And my tip for this episode is going to be, as these winter months, we are currently in New Jersey and we are in the end of January right now. And winter months mean broken pipes, frozen pipes, everything else. So my tip for you, the tip from Tom, is to make sure that you find out where the water shutoffs are. Make sure you locate water shutoffs under your sink, behind your toilet, to your hot water heater, and the main shutoff for your house. Because if you ever have a broken pipe due to frozen pipes, or they just happen to let go, the last thing you want is to flood everything out in your house, or if you live in a condo, on the floors below. Make sure you know where those shutoffs are. Make sure you get access to them quickly to shut them off. So that's a tip from Tom. I hope that you guys got this episode. You found this episode useful. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you get notified when new episodes drop. And if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments. I'm happy to touch on them throughout episodes, and make sure that I can reach out to you and answer any questions that you may have. Hopefully this is a resource for you with your real estate goals, and I'm using it moving forward for anything real estate related or local happenings. Talk to you guys soon.